The winner of the 2022 European Commercial Marine Award for Maritime Sustainability was Artemis Technologies. The leading maritime design and applied technologies company is based in Belfast. Artemis also won an Innovation Award for Vessel Design and Construction, and they carried away the overall Spirit of Innovation Award. Today I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Iain Percy, who's CEO of Artemis Technologies, to get an update on the company's work in this area. Hello.
Hi, nice to speak to you, Tracy.
Beautiful view behind you. The waters of, is that waters of the Loch or the waters of the Atlantic?
It's the opening of the Lagan River, but yeah, heads out. It's Belfast Harbour here and heads out into the Irish Sea. So it's a great place actually to test new equipment. We get a good variety of conditions. We don't need to go far for a storm when you're in Northern Ireland.
Well, let's talk about maritime sustainability. It's really a hot topic at the moment. Can you tell me more about the work that Artemis Technology is doing in this field?
Yeah, Artemis Technologies was formed almost 5 years ago now, and we were a group of skilled engineers from America's Cup, and we had a mission, and our mission was kind of a bit holier than thou. It was to decarbonise maritime, and so really the whole company was formed on that premise. At that point we didn't have a product. We literally had this intention and this vision, and we were working, and we still do as a consulting business, do quite a lot of work in various fields of maritime, but we were looking for new transformative product we could bring that could make a difference to the carbon produced by the maritime sector. But one thing we were adamant about is that any product we bought had to be economically sustainable and good value for our customers. And really, I guess overall what we do day to day is a marriage of those two things. It's a marriage of fairly unrivaled experience over many years in modelling physical objects, modelling powertrains and engines and hydrofoils and boat dynamics and sea states and duty cycles, with economics, with standard accounting, taxes, and cost of capital, etc. So really trying to bring these decisions down to the day to day, and that's what we do and have been doing for the last year. What does that mean? What does that translate to? Well, we like to think it translates to products that can make a real difference, vessels, subsystems, but at the moment very much focusing on our e-foiler vessels, and our e-foiler vessels are boats that combine electric propulsion, submerged, passively cooled, no need for any other cooling, with the hydrofoiling technology. So fully submerged, fully unstable, but very low drag hydrofoils from the America's Cup, and learning to control them is really our USB, and unlocks this kind of transformative jump in cost. And really we've been bringing those boats to trial and to market in the last year, so it's great to actually have physical boats that can go out in 2 meter seas and really prove that it is all possible, and to get data. We've taken our background from racing and realizing that you've got to have 2 boat testing. So every test we do is with an identical sister ship with traditional propulsion and floating, and so all our data is kind of backed up in the moment, in the day, on the same run, and really enjoyed that process whilst bringing multiple other vessels to market on the design side. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've been really busy. I mean, we've had, I guess the other kind of nuts and bolts stuff we've been dealing with is growth. I mean, we're over 100 people now, and we started the year half that. So that, just growing a business by 100% every year is challenging. It's exciting, and we're just, an enjoyable place to be. We still manage to have great fun and a great culture in the office.
Yeah. You mentioned the America's Cup, and of course many people will know you had a very successful Olympic career. How much have they influenced you in the work that you're doing now?
Yeah, I think we're all, we're all a product of our history and our learning along the way. We're all learning every single day. I mean, America's Cup and Olympics are great for understanding what drives people to perform. I think, understanding what matters to individuals to get the best out of them and yourself. I think that's probably the biggest learning you always get from sport. Not many people in sport are in it for the money, and so but they're incredibly motivated and they are working very, very hard. So I think some of the lessons of what drives people, what matters to people, comes from it. I think there's the aspects of the start of a competition is going to happen, and Marseille Olympics is going to happen for our team in 2024, and that's not moving. So it gets you really good at understanding the balance between time, scope, and money. And so when you've got to make pragmatic decisions to meet time, as opposed to, and that might mean that you are less than your best, but you're at the start line.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important. And I think sometimes, in business, there is less of a hard deadline. But unfortunately, it's a cliche, but the environmental challenges are a race against time. And I think that racing attitude of the first job is to be on the start line is a useful trait to bring forward.
Yeah. And the boating industry, commercial and leisure, not always known for meeting deadlines for launching of boats. That must be something key that you bring to this. Are you a shouter, or do you do it calmly?
Neither the America's Cup always that good at meeting deadlines. I can say that from experience. So I think it's a common problem. I think estimating how long things are going to take is critical, because it's not just time. When time slips, costs are slipping too, generally, indirect costs. So yeah, look, I think there is a lot of learnings though, because one thing, as I said, doesn't slip in racing is when the start gun goes.
Yeah. So have you always had an interest in technology and the impact on the environment?
Yeah, I mean, the environment side I have. I think in my household, particularly at home, it's been something that we of a family have been very, very passionate about. My partner, she's particularly passionate. It's what she does as a living. She works, as a director of sustainability for a big business, and that's her drive. So even if I didn't, I would have not had any choice. But I am an avid believer in it. And I think it really came home for me around 2017. A few things happened. I mean, we were racing boats in Bermuda that were clearly efficient. They weren't efficient from this cost versus performance standpoint. The America's Cup's never going to win that race. But what it was physically efficient. It was a boat that was doing 4 times the speed of the wind with a few hundred watts of power. So absolutely incredibly efficient. And that was the first time we'd really, or that kind of transition to foiling and wing sails, the first time that we'd actually had a product that was truly impressive from a power in, power out, speed out point of view. So that was a real eye-opener. It was pretty clear we needed to harness that for the sustainability challenge. 2017 was also when the IMO really put their hand up, the International Maritime Order put their hand up, and they said, we need to do something, and they announced they were going to reduce emissions by 50%. And I have to say, for me, even though a seafarer my whole life, I hadn't noticed it till they came out and said it. And, that's the power of these international bodies. But it's also, the IMO, it does a valiant job, but realistically, by its nature, it's international, by its nature, it falls between cracks, and therefore was always going to struggle, just like aerospace does, with regulation for the environment, because no one body, no one government is responsible. But it was an eye-opener for me to see those figures. It was depressing, knowing that we could produce a boat that with 400 odd watts, my puny arms, could go at 40 knots just using the wind, and we were also one of the biggest emitters for transport in the whole world. That was a kind of realization as I was there grinding away with my buddy Chris Brittle on the handles. And I guess being cliched, my son was born that year, and it always makes you think about not only the future for generations, sure, a bit, but also for me, my stage in my life. And I don't want to necessarily be a racer traveling the world. I wanted to have a ground, and I wanted to do something that had sustainability from a group of people point of view, as in Artemis, as in a team of talented people who I really respected, I enjoyed working with. How are we going to make something sustainable for us and long term for us? And the fact that it also is sustainable for the environment was a strong driver as well.
So what's on your desk at the moment? What's sitting there? What new projects have you got in swing?
Many projects at the moment, but they're all quite focused around our product development. We're probably 90% of our activity as a group of individuals is on our product development, about 10% on the consulting arm. So, you know, and I am involved on that. You know, some of it's real kind of back to my old days stuff where I'm still involved helping the Olympic teams where I can, and
That's nice to hear.
takes up yeah. Yeah, well, it's a bit of a labour of love, but it's you know, I wouldn't be able to walk away fully from helping those guys out. But the right now it's about product development, and really we're still in the R&D phase with some of our products. Some of the others are moving into supply chain and manufacturing technology rollout, developing, you know, around the world, manufacturing and distribution networks. So it's in the next phase of the business to an extent. And then I always have probably 30% of my desk with technical development, integrating with the team, making sure those commercial drivers, those derivatives between cost efficiency, those decisions that are made technically are linked back to what makes sense for customers. I think there's probably something that I'll never want to let go of, and I don't think I should let go of. So probably always 30% of my day is spent not at my desk, but at the desks of the 60 great engineers I have outside.
Yeah. And are you enjoying it?
Yeah, no, I really am. I mean, I one of the bits I didn't enjoy about the America's Cup, and you know, some of my colleagues at the time, like Dave and Dean, who's now, you know, running INEOS there and a director here at Artemis, you know, we spoke about this when we decided to start this venture. What we didn't enjoy was the stop-start nature, and it is of no surprise that Team New Zealand find it fairly comfortable right now, because this is now not a thing. It's not Leonardo da Vinci sketching something. Modern engineering and racing is about iterative improvement, not in the product, iterative improvement in your computational tool ability to predict and make correct decisions. You cannot do that if you lose all your knowledge every single cycle. Yeah. It will take you a whole cycle to get back to absolute ground zero of knowledge, to have something that even allows you to answer the question, let alone know whether that is answering it correctly or not. So it's fundamentally impossible. And that is about people, it's about computational systems, but they're only as good as the people they're putting in. It's about people. And what I used to really not enjoy in the America's Cup was the fact it stopped every X years, 3 or 4 years. And everyone leave, scatter the deck again, and it reforms, but with no real IP knowledge, processes, interactions, personal relationships that allow you to be efficient at work, offices, all stopping and starting again means you just don't get very good. Yeah. And it's even worse than that, because you're just about getting somewhere when it all stops again. So, so that's the bit I enjoy here. Yeah. I enjoy the fact that, look, it doesn't mean we won't always do a good job. We absolutely will make mistakes, but the mistakes you learn from and you do it better, and you're not throwing that in the bin after 3 years. Yeah. So I think I like that. I like the longevity and the kind of return on investment for your effort and efficiency.
Sounds like you're really enjoying it. Your passion is evident. It's lovely to catch up with you today. Thank you very much indeed. Congratulations on your whole host of awards, and let's hope that this year you bag some more.
Thanks, Tracy. Good to speak to you.
And you.